Noswyth da cynghorydd Mike Priestley ydw i, fi ydi cadeirydd a Pwyllgor Trosolwg a Chraffu Economi a lle. Gai croeso bawb I cyfarfod heno. The meeting will be live streamed and recorded and will be available for viewing after the meeting. Should the live streaming fail, the meeting will continue and a recording will be available through the Council's website following the conclusion of this meeting. Can I remind members that translation facilities are available and for those attending on Zoom to choose the language of your choice. For those wishing to speak in the chamber, please raise your hand. For those on Zoom, please use the raise hand function. We will switch between speakers in the chamber and on Zoom. For those attending remotely, please note that those in the chamber will be unable to use the chat facility. Committee members who are attending remotely are required to leave the camera on throughout the debate and when voting in order to maintain the integrity of the decision-making process. If you do need to leave the meeting temporarily, pop a message in the chat function so the Democratic Service Officer is aware and then let us know when you return. I expect everyone present and participating in this meeting to conduct themselves appropriately and be respectful to each other. That applies to members, officers, and anyone in the public gallery. So moving on to the agenda, after that, I would just go into item 1, which is apologies for absence.
I have apologies from Councillors Ross Griffiths-Williams and Michael Smith.
Thank you very much for that. Item 2, I've got declarations of interest, which is the Code of Local Government Conduct. I do have a note here, members, that Councillor Gronwy Edwards, I see you have your hand raised, should declare an interest in one of the items as he made a decision. That will be regarding the parking charges. Therefore, with Gronwy expressing that interest, which we've noted, Gronwy, I'm going to ask the committee to ask if you would all agree to allow Councillor Edwards to remain in the meeting while that item is being discussed, and that is a calling item. I personally feel he should be, because I've read a lot in this item, over 100 pages, and I think it'd be worth him listening to that, and especially with a member of the public here to speak as well. So I want to ask the committee if they are happy. I'd need a proposer that they are happy for Councillor Gronwy Edwards to stay in the committee meeting during that item. I have Councillor Chris Hughes proposing. Online, I have Councillor Tom Montgomery. Thank you very much, guys. All those in favour? Any against? Any abstentions? Thank you, members. So that's agreed that Councillor Edwards, you can stay in during that item. Any other declarations of interest? None. So we go to item 3, which is urgent matters. Do we have any urgent matters?
No urgent matters, Chair.
Okay. Item 4 are the minutes of the previous meeting. If you look at your agenda pack, you can see that the minutes starting from page 4 and going on to page 10. I don't propose to go through each page. Basically, if there's any questions on the minutes, please raise your hands. If not, can I have a proposer for those minutes, please? Councillor Gale, seconded. I've got Councillor Chris. All those in favour? Any against? Any abstentions? That's passed. Thank you very much. Item 5, minutes of the local area forums, which are for information. And I have the first one, which is the local area forum central. You can find these on pages 11 to 13. And these will be either presented by the chair, which is Cynhorydd Nia Owen, or the vice chair, Cynhorydd Dilwyn Roberts. Do I have Cynhorydd Nia? So it's just moving for noting. Oh, we've got Cynhorydd Nia.
Diolch yn fawr iawn, Gadeirydd. Ie, dwi'n ardal y de di hwn ddim yr ardal ganol gyda llaw, ond dwi'n hapus I gyflwyno'r cofnodion fel rhai cywir ar gyfer yn cyfarfod diwethaf ni. Diolch yn fawr iawn.
Diolch yn fawr for that, and thank you for the pointing that out. It is central in the agenda pack, so I will change that to South. A seconder for that, please. Cynghorydd Darren. All those in favour? Any against? Any abstentions? No abstentions, so thank you very much. They're noted. Item 6 are the minutes from the North Wales Police and Crime Panel. And again, these are for information. You can find these in the pack, pages 14 to 19. If I have Councillor Louise Emery online, or if not, I have Councillor Alan Hunter, who can present those to the panel.
Yes, I'm
Louise?
happy to present, Chair. I mean, the financially, really, myself and Alan sit on the panel, and I think those last meetings cover the budget discussions. So unless there's any questions, I'd like to propose these are a correct record.
Yeah, thank you. Probably, well, from me, when I read through them, Councillor Louise, it's just so I was just looking at the police precept that basically, obviously, as a council, we collect on their behalf. And I think, if I'm right, I read in there that the precept had gone up by £22.50 for the year. But then I was interested to see that the precept from 2025 to 2030 looks like it's going to be going up about roughly around about £20 a year. Am I correct in if I've read that right?
Yeah, they're trying to. They've got a really good medium financial strategy. I have to say the finance departments of North Wales Police are very good. So I think they can then sort of predict where the tax rises will be up until that date. But that's for us to challenge as a panel if we don't feel that's appropriate each year.
Okay, thank you for that. Yep, brilliant. Any questions? So do I have a seconder for those minutes, please? Councillor Alan Hunter. All those in favour? Any against? Any abstentions? No, that's passed. That's for noted. Okay, and I will hand over to Dawn now for item 8, which is to review the forward work programme. Oh, sorry, I do apologise. I've rubbed that out. Yeah, there are no questions to cabinet members, so I apologise. Yeah, rubbed that out. I'm getting ahead of myself, aren't I? Okay, slow down, Mike. Item 8, which is to review the forward work programme. Thank you, Jane.
Thank you, Chair. So just a very quick update from myself. So as requested by the chairs and vice chairs, I've started devising a draft forward plan for the next municipal year, and that's on pages 20 to 30. So I've scheduled in some regular reports that obviously come to this committee year on year. My next step now will be to email committee members on behalf of the chairs and vice chairs, asking if you have any scrutiny topics which you want including. Obviously, that will be subject to our scrutiny processes and the completion of the necessary scrutiny topic form. I just want to remind members that the LDP was due to come to this meeting, but that now has been moved to the June meeting due to more consultation with Welsh governments. That's my update, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Everyone happy with the forward work programme? And if so, could I have a proposer, please? Chris Hughes, and seconded online, Tom. Thank you, Tom. All those in favour? Thank you. Anyone against? And any abstentions? No. Thank you very much. So that's item 8. I need to slow down a little bit, Dawn. We go on to item 9. And item 9 is to consider a call-in of a delegated decision by Councillor Gronwy Edwards, who is the Cabinet Member for Infrastructure, Transport and Facilities, on parking charges in Old Colwyn. I did make a quick note that I have read, and it's some 109 pages with objections, etc. It's quite a topic that are related to this item. Basically, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask Mr. Brian Cossey from Old Colwyn. Is it the Environment Association, Brian? Residents, thank you, Brian. So if I could invite Mr. Brian Cossey down. Brian, you'll be allowed 3 minutes, and we'll let you know when you've got roughly about 30 seconds And what I will do, Brian, if you could, after you've finished your presentation, if you could stay there, because I'm going to invite any questions if there are any on what you've got to say. Okay.
Is that I'd end up stood in this this chamber. The only reason being that the secretary of the association who was going to give the presentation, Monty Slocum, he unfortunately died earlier this month. So I've been sort of asked to take his place.
Thank you. And if you could you send our condolences to family? I actually knew Monty.
Yeah,
Lovely
course.
fellow.
Yeah, lots of
lovely fellow.
people.
Yeah. So from this committee, our condolences.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so as I say, I've been asked as the treasurer of the Old Colwyn Residents Association to come to speak to you about the imposition of car parking charges on the promenade in Old Colwyn. And the association objects on 3 grounds: the lack of consultation, a policy, and amenity. Firstly, the association has had a long relationship with cabinet members and officers of the council, and has been consulted by them on several issues over the years. Officers have attended our meetings. They're always well received, even when we don't agree. We are at a loss really to understand why we couldn't have had the usual face-to-face consultation that we've had in the past. Perhaps it's because we were told some time back that the Old Colwyn Prom would not have charges put in place. With regard to policy, to the association, there doesn't appear to be a clear policy as to how and where charges will be implemented. Other areas within the county which should be charged are for some reason not. And we would suggest that a comprehensive policy be written first, rather than what appears to our members to be an ad hoc implementation just for monetary gain. And thirdly, on amenity, we as an association can see why some areas, including in this particular order, why they are there due to adjacent amenities. We in Old Colwyn, we have none whatsoever. We have no toilets, no kiosk, no games, virtually no seats, nothing at all. So what are people getting for their money? Nothing. Because it's nothing, because it has nothing, it's a promenade which is used by locals for exercise. And that, of course, is very much a tidal-based activity. We don't have the luxury of a 24-hour sandy beach. We realise that the charges have now been reduced from the original, because I'm sure you've seen that it's now going to be £2.50 for the first period. But even these are too much when all we're getting is nothing. And the fact that it's been reduced to £2.50 from was it £5 also proves to us that you haven't got a policy. And then we see that Porth Areas is going to be charged at £2.40, which does have amenities, but they're going to be charged less than the people in Old Colwyn. So yeah, we think that you need to have a rethink on the matter, go out to consultation again, write a policy, and not have a charge in Old Colwyn because we have no amenities. That's my 3 minutes, but I'm sure the elected members from Old Colwyn will have their own objections to those which I've raised on behalf of the Residents Association.
Thank you very much, Brian. While you're on your feet, if I could just briefly on what Brian has said, any members of this committee, do they have any questions on that? Bearing in mind, there's a substantial report and objections to answer a lot of that, and then I've got some signatures to call in. I don't know what particular order. I'll ask the signatures who wants to go first, I suppose, if you raise a hand. So any questions for Brian before I ask the signatures of the call-in to come in? That was an early bath, that, Brian, so you done well there. Thank you very much. Mr. Cossey, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Before I go to the signatures that the calling, I'm not sure whether we've got Councillor Neil Coverley here, because
No, he's got a family hospital appointment.
okay, so that'll put down, that'll go to 3 signatures that want to speak. The procedure is going to be that, so I'll allow those that have signed the call in to speak. Then I'll open it up for a discussion, and then what will happen then is, if there's a proposal and it's seconded, that proposal, if carried, will go back to Cynhorod Gronwy Edwards. It won't go to cabinet, or Gronwy may have the opportunity there to take it back to cabinet. But whatever the resolve is from this committee, will go to Gronwy, and then Gronwy can take that away and mull that over. So I've got 3 signatures. I had 4. I've got 3 signatures. So so I've got Councillor Cheryl who wants to put a hand up. I know David Card online, you're one of the signatures, and Gail one of the signatures, and Councillor Neil was. So if Councillor Carlisle has put a hand up, we'll go there, and then if you're happy with that, going in order. Gail, you okay? David online, you okay? Just yeah, I'm getting a nod to that. Thank you very much, Councillor David. Councillor Cheryl, over to you.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you for letting me speak. I think it's a good omen for this call-in that ex-Councillor Bryan has led the charge to get this unfair decision overturned. I'm just going to briefly list for you the reasons why we should ask Councillor Gronwy to reconsider, especially in light of the 109 pages of objections. I'm going to outline some of them, and Councillor Gale and Councillor David will do the rest. The decision imposes parking charges in Old Colwyn when none existed before. These charges go against guidance from the Welsh Government. For local authorities in Wales introducing parking charges where none existed before, the guidance from the Welsh Government emphasises managing parking to improve traffic flow and public transport, whilst ensuring charges are proportionate and revenue is used for transport purposes. Responses received by the residents and councillors from officers and cabinet members fly in the face of the guidance from Welsh Government. Responses received give the reason that other local authorities have these charges. The money will go to pay for social care, and it's a legitimate source of income for the council. The principles and objectives of the charges should be: 1, traffic management, efficient movement of traffic that is not a concern of local residents. 2, public transport, encourage the use of public transport. There is no public transport on Old Colwyn Promenade. And thirdly, proportionality. Parking charges and penalty charges should be set at levels that are proportionate to the need to manage parking. This charge has nothing to do with managing parking, but an attempt to get revenue. So a couple more issues. Conway has no, as mentioned by Councillor Bryan, Conway has no parking charges policy, no coherent data or consistent uniform approach to inform this decision, given the status of other seafront areas. Hence, the singling out of Old Colwyn is unfair. Weight has not been given to the large volume of local objections. Parking meters between Porth areas and Rotary Way have been out of commission for over the last year, with a huge loss of revenue. And only yesterday, a notice was pinned up for Porth areas to start parking charges for, after some, I think it's 4 years of councils asking for that to happen. The disabled bays are not provided adjacent to the fishing and viewing platform, so disabled people that use that platform to go and look at the sea, they're being discriminated against. Councillor Gale is going to cover the rest of the issues, but thank you very much indeed.
Okay, so I'll bring in Councillor Gale now, and then Councillor Carr. I'll let you round off if you want to raise any other points or reiterate what's been said, and then what I will do then, I will ask the Cabinet and give him the opportunity to respond to what's been said, if you want to respond to that, and then I will open it up for a debate. Okay, so Councillor Gale.
Thank you, Chair. There's been no transparency the public have not been informed of the guidelines issued by the Welsh Government on the introduction of parking charges when none previously existed. Further reasons given were not part of the guidance. The Cabinet member and the council staff, in reply to residents and local councillors' concerns, have not properly engaged, citing reasons that have nothing to do with the traffic management and asking for objections to be withdrawn. That was in November. Clearly, from the limited reply from the Cabinet member, guidance from Welsh Government has been ignored, along with the objective of civil parking enforcement for compliance, not to raise new revenue. New parking charges on the Old Promenade may be subject to legal challenges. The strategy developed is not acceptable to local residents and is not consistent with the current statutory guidance. These changes should be withdrawn. No EQIA assessment for user demographics, local visitors, disabled, low-income users. Incorrect Cabinet member consulted with 3 changes of portfolio holder for the decision. No parking meters as yet fitted in Porth Erys, although we have heard that they have looked at doing that now. Disabled people unable to use a specifically designed ramp built with public monies. The fishing community were assured that there would still be free parking for them when consulted over the building of the works for the sea defences. This area is prescribed for guidance by the Conway BCU HB Health Precinct at Park Erys as an area for cardiac rehabilitation exercise to take place, flat with measured distances. Parking will be displaced into residential areas onto a sharp bend, Minodon Avenue, Beach Road, Cliff Gardens, etc. It will not discourage overnight parking, as been said, because it'll be free overnight. And unless we're going to have parking wardens out during the night, we're still going to get parking. We're not convinced that it's not financially viable given the cost of installing the meters and providing parking wardens. Cabinet member has refused several times to meet and discuss the objections with the 4 local members of various Colwyn wards. Residents are going to vote with the feet. They won't pay it, basically. So, you know, how does that, the cost of it, how will it be paid for if residents are not doing it? I propose that my proposal is that the Cabinet member reconsiders in light of new evidence and takes time to consult with local members. Thank you. That's my proposal. Yes, thank you.
Sorry, that's a proposal. Okay, thank you. Councillor David Carr online.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. There's been some confusion of who the Cabinet member was. Originally, we thought it was Gromway. And then I think Cheryl and myself were trying to get a meeting with Jeff. And then we were told it was Jeff. And then I had a conversation with Sian Williams a couple of weeks ago and said, oh, no. When she looked at all the responsibilities, oh, no, it's Gromway Edwards. So we were a bit confused. We've not had a meeting. We've not had the consultation because there has been confusion over who has the responsibilities for this within the 2 ERF Cabinet members. Just to reinforce what Councillor Cheryl said, that the Welsh Government's advice is that the parking charges, new parking charges, are supposed to be to manage traffic or to support public transport. Really, this, from the information that we received, it looks as though this is just to actually make revenue for the council, and that's not the purpose of it. So it flies against the advice of the Welsh Government. We do feel a bit hard done by that. There are areas where maybe parking charges in the county could be introduced to manage traffic, and it's not happening there. But they seem to put them here. Residents are very upset because the road was closed for over 2 years when we had the sea defences done. It's good now it's done, but that road was closed, caused great inconvenience. It tends to be local people that go down there for exercise and they drive down. So really, you know, it's not. They don't think it's fair really, that they should, parking charges should be put on them. Well, I think previously we were told there wasn't going to be parking charges. Brian said on that part of the prom. So residents, there's over 40 objections. The Old Colwyn Residents Association objects as well. But primarily, yeah, we need to look at the guidance that's given, and that we do need to introduce parking charges where it manages traffic, not just to try and get some revenue. And as Gail was saying, you probably won't make any money out of it because people will park further down, come down to use that part of the prom. They won't park there, so it might actually sort of cost us more money to put the parking meters in. Okay, that's my sort of take on it. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you for that, Councillor David. Yeah, so basically that now leaves me to ask if Councillor Gromley wants to respond to that. I will be opening. You do want to respond to that, and then we'll open it up for a debate. I am mindful with that we've got some 800 odd pages on our agenda tonight that I'm mindful to get through, and I'd like to get home before midnight if at all possible. So and I will not stifle debate, but I'm just mindful of that, and I will remind members when we go to each agenda item. Councillor Gromley Edwards.
Thank you, Chair. I note the points made by the residents and by the Residents Association. All these points have been made during the consultation period. In fact, the consultation period was extended to take into account of their concerns, and concessions have been made as a result of those consultations to reduce parking at certain times of the year because of the reasons put forward. But as far as policy, Conway Council Parking Strategy 2015, which was adopted by the Council in 2016, makes specific reference to the need to create a controlled parking zone on the Old Colwyn Promenade. The CPZ proposal at Old Colwyn is consistent with the whole of the Bay of Colwyn area, and also North Shore Llandudno, where the demand for parking spaces is high during peak periods. Restrictions only applies between 10 in the morning and 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 6 hours a day. So at either end of those periods, it will be free to anyone to park there. So the limitation of restriction times allows for local activities such as dog walking, fishing, sea swimming, etc. Usually take place early in the mornings or evening times to access the area free of charge. The proposed charges reflect the local demand of the area, where a reduced charge for 2-hour parking has been put forward. This concession would only apply for the Old Colwyn section. Not apply any charges at all for the Old Colwyn would risk the area being overwhelmed by long-stay visitors parking, who would be inclined to avoid the parking charges on the rest of the promenade and migrate over to the Old Colwyn then, which is inevitable. Concerns regarding displacement of parking onto nearby residential streets have been considered, and the situation will be monitored. If the concerns do materialise, then appropriate and targeted measures can be put in place. The TRO specific EQI equality impact assessment is being put in place, which will cover all TRO activities in the county and ensure that we will be fulfilling our duties under Equality Act 2010. 5 disabled parking bays have been provided, which allow blue badge holders to park free of charge. The location of the disabled bays can be reviewed and repositioned if required following the bedding in period. We are not aware of any promises made or documented by the council officers that no parking charges would be introduced in the future. The comments regarding access to ramps are not relevant to the TRO. And on the point that was made about this is just to raise revenue. Yes, we do need to raise revenue. Obviously, a significant amount of investment has gone into the coastal protection, the whole length of the coast of Conway, and these will need to be maintained during their lifetime. So revenue is essential to maintain that. I can probably, Brian will remember his time on the council and as a cabinet member, to accept grant funding without having revenue in place can inevitably lead to difficulties later. You can always take the example of the Hillway Gardens, where we received significant grant funding, but there was no revenue in place there, and inevitably the whole regards have deteriorated ever since because no money's been in place. So there is a need to raise revenue to maintain the infrastructure along this coast. Billions of pounds have been drawn down to protect our coastal region, and there is no revenue as part of that. So we are duty bound to collect the revenue to maintain those going forward. I can't see the Welsh Assembly coming up with more money for the lack of maintenance that we may well have to incur if we don't have the funding in place to maintain the existing infrastructure.
Thank you very much for that response, Cromwell. So that now leaves me to open to the debate. Online, I've got Councillor Tom.
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, mindful of what you're saying about the length of the agenda, so I'll keep it short and sweet. I appreciate that the Cabinet Member just outlined that there is in fact a strategy in place, but he did highlight that it was accepted by the Council 9 years ago. I think that it's quite clear based on the objections and the feedback from the local members that the ground has shifted in that area, and perhaps that site is no longer appropriate to see these charges put in place. I think we have 4 local members saying that they don't believe that this is an appropriate site, and I think we need to support local members when they come before us and take this type of action. So I'd like to keep it short and sweet, and I'd like to second Councillor Gale's proposal, please, Chair.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate that, Top. Thank you very much. I've got Councillor Louise.
Yes, I've just got a question for Councillor Gronwy, and he talks about the money that's going to be raised in the Old Colwyn area from the parking charges. Is that most definitely ring fenced just to maintain that bit of the prom? Is it going into like I don't know, to help replace the sand or something? So is that where the parking charges are raised? Are they specifically ring fenced to look after that waterfront?
Parking charges, wherever they're raised, will go into the coffers of the RF to maintain the infrastructure across the county. It's not specific to one particular area.
Right. Okay. So they're not specific to looking after that area. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Simon.
Thank you, Chair. My concern on this is if we refer this matter back to Cabinet and to the relevant member, how long this is going to delay putting in place charges on the charges on the Cayley prom and things, because we're in risk of going another season without having any charges down there. The splendid facilities that are drawing a lot of people, and we're not getting any income from them. We've waited long enough. To be honest, I don't know why we couldn't have put this TRO in place earlier last year, ready for this to happen. And the other question is, whilst they were doing all the work on the Old Colwyn prom, have they actually put any power and everything in, or whatever's required in place to run parking meters, or are we going to have to dig the whole thing up again? Thank you.
Thank you, Simon, and Gronwy will answer that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you with the point that we need to raise revenue, and ideally we would have put the TRO in sooner, but they have to go through the consultation period, and that has taken this time to get to this stage. As far as digging up the existing promenade, these will be solar powered parking machines. From what I understand, there will be no need to dig up the carriageways to put in any infrastructure.
Okay, thank you for that, Gronwy. I've got Councillor Sam online, and then if we've got no others, well, I've got Councillor Nigel as well, but I want to move on with this large agenda that we have, and also, you know, we do have a proposal, we have a seconder. So if I could ask then, Councillor Sam.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I was just wondering, I'm sorry, I was looking through the later bits in the report. I think Councillor Gronwy said something then about using revenue from parking charges to contribute to maintaining the highway, and obviously that's been subject of quite extensive flood defence work. I can't specifically see it in the flooding report that we've got coming up, but obviously there is reference to Old Colwyn, And there is also reference to ongoing grants available for the maintenance of flood defence work. So I wonder how much the parking charges make a contribution to the maintenance of those flood defences along that stretch of highway. Thank you.
That's a very good question, Sam, and Gronwy is
well-
indicating that he'll respond to that.
Well, obviously, the highway and the coastal works are two separate demands on revenue. The maintenance of the coastal protection will not come out of revenue from the car parking charges or any other charges. That is a completely separate identity to the maintenance of the road infrastructure.
Thank you, Gronwy. Nigel, online?
Diolch, Cadeirydd, and thank you very much for allowing me to speak. Well, I just want to say, you know, what I've heard tonight and what I've seen, really, I feel this calling has been made on false pretenses. We've heard a lot about the Welsh Government's, you know, advice on parking charges, and I've got every confidence that officers have legally applied these parking charges. I also want to thank the Cabinet Member, Councillor Garonwy, for listening to people's concerns and reducing the cost. To be fair, you know, I have a business in Rhyl, as many people may know. Denbighshire County Council have charges all year round on Rhyl West Promenade, and you can't even see the sea there. Rhyl Promenade is housing along the promenade. There's no businesses there anymore, and you know, so these are where residents are parking, and there's parking charges. So nobody likes to pay these charges, but you know, if you're going to go and sit by the seaside and watch the sea, you want to go to Old Colwyn, where we've invested a lot of money with Welsh Government, improved the promenade, and it's a great place. And unfortunately, you have to pay for that. And I just don't get what the issue is here.
Okay.
You know, but thank you for that
Nigel,
anyway.
I want to respond, and my response is going to be that this call-in has been accepted and verified by our Matt, who monitoring officer. He has agreed that is legitimate and it's a bona fide call-in. So it's not one that's for the want of a better word, mischief making. It has been agreed, and that's why it's at this committee.
I totally understand that, Chair. Could I just say that advice from Welsh Government is not legislation or rules?
Okay, thank you, Nigel. Cheryl, last word, and then I'm going to go to. I've got a proposer. I've got a recommendation proposed and seconded, and I want to take that to the vote. So if you be brief, please.
Absolutely, Chair. Thank you very much for letting me come back and for addressing Councillor's Nigel rather strange comments about false pretences. So thank you for that. Two questions for Councillor Gronwy. What is being done about all the parking meters that are between Rotary Way and Portherius that haven't been working for over 12 months? They're just been sat there taped up, no revenue. That's the first question. And why haven't you raised charges at the tourist trap that's Portherius for the last 3 years? Thank you very much, Chair.
But until this TRO is approved, we were not able to implement parking charges. That's the whole point of the TRO, so we can collect our revenue.
Thank you very much. So I have, thank you very much, everyone. And again, Mr. Brian Cossey for taking the time out to come and speak to us here tonight. I do appreciate that, Brian. I have had a proposal from Councillor Gale. Have we got that down, or would I need it repeated from Gale herself? If we could just confirm, if we can confirm this, Gale, please.
Propose that the Cabinet Member reconsiders in light of new evidence and to consult with local members.
Thank you very much. And that was seconded by was it Tom? So there we do. There we are. We have a proposal.
Just on a point of order there, Chair. Could I ask, what is the new evidence?
Yeah. Just bear with me, Nigel.
it's in light of all the objections and the points we have made, Councillor Nigel, and also the fact that the parking meters between, if it's a fiscal reason you're raising money, then why haven't the meters from Portherius, that is included in the paperwork, why haven't the meters between Portherius and Rotary Way, which is separate to the Old Colwyn End, why haven't you been charging for them? And I understand that Portherius, so some strange reason about not being able to get Welsh translation for the last 3 years at Portherius, which seems a bit strange given we've got a big translation service here. So that those are the new reasons. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Sean.
clarify that.
I'm happy,
Just clarify
Gronwy,
that
go on.
point.
Go on.
I think I clarified the point. We could not introduce parking charges along the promenade until the TRO has been implemented. That's why no revenue is being collected in those machines. And the Portherius is a separate identity under different conditions to the promenade.
Look into the proposer that maybe you may want to reword your proposal. I alluded to the fact of the amount of objections at the start of this meeting and the information in the over 100 odd pages. But as I say, that might clarify and simplify it a little bit easier.
Right, I will change my proposal then, that the cabinet member reconsiders and consult with local members.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gale, for that. And now, as a seconder there, Councillor Tom, are you happy with that amendment?
Yeah,
Yep.
totally happy, Chair.
Okay, I think that for me as chair clears that up quite nicely. So I will go to the vote. All those in favour of the proposal, please show. Okay. And all those against? I haven't voted, and I think that I would support the local members and send that to Gronwy to reconsider. So I'll support the local members on that. The proposal's carried. Thank you very much for that. Right, item 10 is to consider a report by the Head of Economy and Culture on the following matter. And that's the Conway corporate events and filming strategy. You can find these on pages 141 to 160. The report will be introduced by Cynhoryd Dilwyn, and then who's a cabinet member for Culture, Governance and IT, and then Mr. Adrian Latrobe, section head for events management, will present and provide more detail on that. Cynhoryd Dilwyn. I'm just struggling, mae'n drwg gen I. Translation, I'm struggling with. Can we just confirm translation, please? Have you got your microphone on, Dilwyn?
Very sorry. I thought I had pressed it, but I didn't come on. Can I apologise to everybody for that, Mike?
I wouldn't put you on the spot, Dilwyn. But so can I just confirm translation? You can hear Dilwyn now.
Dach chi'n glwad i wan?
Diolch. Okay. Cheers.
Ga i ymddeiro i pawb am hynna. Ia, fel ni'n deud, strategaeth ddwytha gyda ni yng Nghonwy oedd yn 2009, a dwi'n cofio honno'n cael ei rhoi dyma gilydd. Mae wedi bod yn beth da ac boblogedd gyn y cymunedau yng Nghonwy yma ar draws y sir yn cynnwys yr ardaloedd gwledig hefyd, efo'r digwyddiadau sydd bod yma, fel da ni gyd yn gwybod. Erbyn hyn, mae angen strategaeth newydd i ateb gofynion yr oes sydd ohoni. Mae Sir Conwy wedi gwneud gwaith arbennig yn croesawu digwyddiadau yma dros y blynyddoedd ac da ni'n dal i wneud hynny. Ond efo digwyddiadau lle mae'r trefnwyr yn awyddus iawn i ddod i Conwy, a mae hynny'n digwydd yn aml. Mae strategaeth yn bwysig er mwyn cael popeth yn ei le i dderbyn y digwyddiadau yma i Conwy, fel dyn ni'n gwybod. A dyn ni gyd yn gwybod hefyd paint o fwrlwm sy'n dod i gymunedau pan mae'r digwyddiadau yma'n dod yma. Gai felly cadeirydd wan obeithio, wel dwi'n gwybod y bydd y pwyllgor yma yn craffu'r adroddiad ac yn gwneud unrhyw argymellion maen nhw'n dewis, ond dwi'n gobeithio hefyd y bydd y pwyllgor yma yn cymeradwyo'r argymhellion ac yn cynnig bod cabinet yn derbyn y strategaeth am y cyfnod o 2025 i 2030. Gai ddiolch i Adrian yn fama am ddod â'r adroddiad gynhwysfawr yma ymlaen ac hefyd i pawb arall sydd wedi bod yn ymwneud hefo hwn. A dwi'n mynd i ofyn felly i Adrian neitho fynd â'r pwyllgor drwy'r adroddiad yn fanwl. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Diolch cadeirydd.
Diolch, Dilwyn. Adrian.
Thank you, Councillor Dilwyn. I don't propose to pick my way through a strategy for you, but there are just a few key headline points that I wanted to draw attention to. Firstly, the vision in the strategy, which is about supporting diverse, sustainable events and productions to deliver well-being and economic benefit for our residents, businesses and visitors. From the outset, it's important to remember when we engage in the events sector that Conwy isn't an events management agency, and it's also not purely about generating income, although our business events activities at the business centre and at Venue Cymru do actually generate over £400,000 a year to the council budget, so that's a bonus. The real value of events is that events are a really effective vehicle for delivering on a host of other strategic goals that the authority has. The events we support through this strategy support the economy, provide cultural and sporting activities supporting well-being to our residents and communities. They create a call to action for potential tourists to make that low season booking to visit the area because they want to attend a specific event. The county's events programme helps support year-round jobs and engages people in their communities, all of which adds to the Economy and Culture Services core mission to stimulate preventative activities, reducing future pressures on our statutory services. The events sector is worth over 60 billion to the UK. Wales has much too small a share of this, but making it as easy as possible for event organisers to bring their events to Conwy is a way of redressing that and seeing the benefits to this part of Wales. High-end filming brought a further 6 billion in 2022 to the UK economy. That's set to rise, and this strategy also covers that. So this is the fourth version of a corporate event strategy that has since 2009, as Councillor Dilwyn referenced. This strategy has been put together to link with other key strategic documents that we have in support of our economic growth strategy, the Craig Conway culture strategy, as well as obviously the corporate plan. And it links heavily with the national event strategy for Wales, which in itself has been tightly focused on how events can be used to support the outcomes of the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act. For Conway, there are three significant changes in this strategy document to the previous one. Firstly, the inclusion of location filming as a core part of the strategy. I'll come back to that. Secondly, a recognition of the value and importance of the business events sector to Conway. This is an area that the strategy addresses with specific ambition to how we're going to further grow that revenue, both to the businesses in the community and to the council's own facilities. And thirdly, hopefully temporary pivot in focus due to the current financial outlook facing the county. This is a shift away from hosting of high-profile events that generated significant media coverage and instilled a sense of sort of civic pride. They're fantastic to host, but things like UK Armed Forces Day had a £390,000 budget. And although most of that was secured from external funding, there was a point where Conway was at risk if that sponsorship wasn't secured, and we still had a £40,000 contribution from our own budgets. So that shift away from those events is obviously important from a financial point of view. The shift towards supporting the 400 plus events that take place in Conway each year. Most of these are actually organised by voluntary or not-for-profit groups who are finding it increasingly daunting to stay ahead of changes in legislation, cost of equipment and facilities, and their expectations to produce ever more robust event management plans to address areas like counter-terrorism. So from a resource implication point of view, I'd sort of flag up that this is a document that presents a strategy that's big on ambition whilst being realistic on funding. Gone are the annual capital business case submissions entitled Delivering the Corporate Event Strategy, along with their asks of £350,000 to £400,000 per annum. In its place, you'll find the action plan that can be reviewed and scaled according to the staffing and budgetary resources available. And you'll see a number of key elements in the strategy which are designed to help generate revenue to the team, which in turn will help reduce the overhead cost of the major event side of the team. Worth pointing out again that the business event side of our team is revenue generating anyway. I'd like to think of ourselves as the Rumpelstiltskin department of the council, spinning gold from straw on a daily basis. So I mentioned filming. We have introduced location filming as a core part of the strategy for the first time. Conway has become increasingly popular for location filming activities over the past couple of years. And many of the requirements for location filming are the same services, knowledge, contacts that are required for event organisers, and so it makes an obvious sense and synergy to sit that alongside the major events team. We have had over 70 location filming projects since we started tracking them accurately in the last 12 months, coming into the county. We were fortunate enough to secure a small grant through the Shared Prosperity Community Key Fund to look at the scope and parameters for a single point of contact for filming inquiries and to develop a film office. That's proved very successful. We've had a very positive feasibility study report come back from an independent consultant on that. Obviously, not all of the inquiries we are going to get are going to be high-end HBO or Netflix productions with huge budgets, but every piece of filming that comes into the county helps promote the county as a destination. It's free advertising for tourism. And even things like Escape to the Country and things of that sort are showcasing the area. If we can help make the life of those production companies easier, they're more likely to film here rather than somewhere else. Last thing I'm going to mention, which is one of the action points within the strategy and another benefit of some shared prosperity funding, and this is more of an advertisement than it is a strategy point, is that through the Craig Conway Shared Prosperity Fund, we were fortunate enough to secure some funding towards event equipment. Now, this is now available to help event organisers across the county with reducing the costs of putting on their events. Some of the equipment we've been able to secure includes gazebos, tables and chairs, radios, a sensory tent, staging and a platform lift to access it. PA systems and some basic lighting. We've been purchasing that over the last 12 months. The last bits of that only arrived today. We've already had more than 91 events in the community that have been supported by being able to use that equipment at significantly lower costs than it would have been possible to hire anything commercially. I have one or two just facts and figures to put things into scale. Cambrian Rally, one of our big events that the county help support in a year. Last November, 80% of their attendees were from outside Wales, with 49% of them staying one or more nights in the area, and with an estimated economic value to the county of 1.28 million. That's on a one weekend event. Tour of Britain, we were fortunate enough to secure the Tour of Britain women's stage final back in June last year. Haven't yet had a specific stage breakdown on the impact of that one, but the tour itself generated more than 10.5 million across the 5 days. And the 2021 men's tour, which we did get a specific county by county impact on, brought an economic impact to Conway of 1.2 million within a single day. And actually looking back, there's a really long legacy on some of these events. Back in 2014, we also hosted a stage final for Tour of Britain that finished on the promenade outside Venue Cymru. Off the back of that, the tourism team and Llandudno Hospitality were at a group travel show in the October following, met a tour operator that wanted to start running cycling tours in North Wales, based out of Llandudno and based off the aerial photography from that race. That company 10 years later is still bringing tours into Llandudno. So the long-term benefit of us supporting these things, even if we haven't got the money to put behind stuff, then just to be able to provide the advice and the help and the support to make Conway a destination of choice for hosting events has a massive benefit. Last one I'll mention is Prom Extra and Abergele Fun Day. Abergele Fun Day in its first year this last year. Prom Extra, a long-standing one. Both of these events now fully funded through the town and community council, the relevant town councils, or commercial sponsorship. Prom Extra attracts 8,000 to 10,000 people each year. It's a largely free event. It enables our low-income households to experience a day out of activities that they might not have been able to afford otherwise, and it's helping just in that gentle way with the well-being of our communities.
Well, I don't know what to say. Thank you, Adrian. That's really well delivered. And I'll cross out my first question about give me an example of what an event brings into Conway. So I'll just scribble that out. I also never want to underestimate the value Venue Cymru brings to the area, and the bed nights that brings, and some of the fantastic shows. When you talk about filming, I see on social media when filming happens around Conway is like a frenzy, and you know, and it as you say, it puts us on the map. So basically cutting your cloth accordingly is what you're doing with this policy, and I'm sure Councillor Gromley can get you some hay if you want to spin it into some gold. But no, thank you very much. Well presented. I will open it up to any questions here. Sorry, I've got Councillor Louise.
Thank you, Chair, and I'm really pleased to see this strategy, and I do support the pivot, as you say, from rather than seed funding small events right through to supporting the large events, that we're going to provide the support. I often found when I was overseeing this that some of the events had kind of got hooked on grant support each year and just expected it to happen, and that was quite awkward, really, to try and sort of wean them off it and make sure that certainly privately or commercial events do sort of wash their face. I'm really want to big up the town and community councils. Llandudno Town Council, we put 15k into the extravaganza, and I think we put 15k into the Cambrian Rally as well. This is really, really important events for our town, and we do see that. I suppose my only comment is the increasing costs. You know, poor old Grom, where he's getting a hard deal tonight with, but ERF increasing their costs like barrier hire, road closures, does affect events. We don't have a parade for the Llandudno extravaganza, and one of those is the costs of road closures and barriers, etc. So that sort of decision in that department over there, for whatever good reason, does affect community events. So I'm glad to hear you're working with some of the smaller community events. You know, Martin's Law it should not hinder events. That would be terrible if the whole point of that was to stop us doing stuff for communities. So I think we can work our way through that and not get too worried about it. So very supportive to see that we have a strategy, and well done. Really pleased with this.
Thank you, Councillor Louise. As I said earlier, yeah, me too. I've got Adrian. Do you want to come back?
I just wanted to throw it to throw in a thanks and a credit to my colleagues at the other side of the room there, because our colleagues in ERF have listened to our appeal about some costs related to events, and have introduced a TTRO rate for certain not-for-profit events. So that will be helping people with their budgets.
Thank you very much, and it's good to note that. So thank you for that. So I've got Councillor Allen online, then I've got Chris in the chamber.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Yeah, it's a really great strategy, and that last little bit from Adrian to say that, you know, there is some support for TROs is very, very welcome, especially I would imagine for the Llandudno members. So yeah, I'm happy to propose that we go with the recommendation. Just out of interest, I was sat watching a movie a while back. If you can sit through it, it's called The Gorge, and you'll see a father and daughter who are sat on a bench in a cemetery, apparently in Essay in France. And when I saw it, I thought, that's the cemetery on the Great Orme. So it's great to see our own areas being used in a film, and I'm sure it'll grow. So yeah, happy to go with the recommendation.
Thank you, Alan. I don't think people will flock to go and visit there. But yeah,
you could watch the film, but yeah, it's not great.
I actually got some questions about that, saying was that a film by the Orme? And it was, wasn't it? Thank you, Alan. Chris.
Yeah. Like Louise, I'm pleased to see this report. Unfortunately, in terms of my town in which I live, Colwyn Bay, which is the largest town in North Wales, we don't have any corporate events. The only event which was mentioned earlier is the event which the town council run, or town council hosts, which Conway run on its behalf, which is Prom Day. I recently attended with Colwyn Bay Business Forum an event with Medi Parry Williams, a well-known business guru, and she's working on behalf of BT, promoting what they're doing at the moment. And they were able to access BT information to count the numbers of people walking through our communities. And on Prom Day in Colwyn Bay, there was a 29.6% increase in pedestrian footfall through the town centre, which shows the impact that events can have. Adrian's just raised with me one of the big barriers to events for an awful lot of organisations, and that is the cost of road closures. Hopefully that will be, but I know there could have been several events last year in Colwyn Bay organised by voluntary groups and the like, which fell foul because the funders didn't want to pay 60-70% of the funding to actually cover the cost of road closures and administration. So it is a frustration. It is something that I appreciate there are issues around, and the highways have to get their income from somewhere. but they also need to recognise an awful lot of events that could happen and should happen and could have massive economic benefits, which would benefit the whole county, including this authority, aren't happening for the very reason that funders are questioning event organising groups as to the amount of money that goes into administration as opposed to delivering the events.
Okay, thank you for that, Chris. I think I'll take on board what Adrian said as well, is that, you know, there has been something like a breakthrough on that, and I'm sure conversations will continue to support the events in Conway. I haven't got any other speakers, so I've actually got this has been on pages 142, the recommendations in 1.11, 1.2, subject to consideration, economy and place overview scrutiny committee recommendation that cabinet adopts the Conway corporate events and film in strategy. That's been proposed by Councillor Allen. Do I have a seconder for that?
I'll second it, Mike.
Okay, I've got, thank you, Louise. Sorry, Gail, you're just pipped by the voice here. A good document speaks for itself. Bernice, is that a hand there for voting? Yes, okay, so I'm going to go to the vote then. All those in favour? Nine online. Anyone against? And one in the chamber, two in the chamber. No one against. Any abstentions? That's unanimous. So thank you very much, Cynnoryd Dilwyn, Adrian, Sarah, thank you very much. So with that, now we go to item 11, and this is to consider a report by the Head of Environment, Roads and Facilities on the following matter, which is the local flood risk management strategy. This is quite a weighty document, to say the least. You can find this on pages, starting on pages 161 and finishing there on 705. But it's a massive. I think this is I'm going to bore you all now because I think this is such an amazing and exciting document. I really do. And I'm gonna, without further ado, I'm gonna ask Councillor Gronwy Edwards, who's a cabinet member for infrastructure, transport, facilities, to introduce this, and then I will ask Owen Connery, who is our flood risk and infrastructure manager, to present and to provide more detail. But I really do think this is it's the future, as they say. So Cynnoryd Gronwy.
Thank you, Chair. And yes, it is a weighty document, and a lot of work has gone into that. And I'd like to thank Owen and his team for all that work. Without a strategy, we wouldn't be able to get and attract the funding that we have been able to do over the years. So this is all down to our officers and the way they put the case forward for Conway's flood defence and risk management going forward. It is a weighty document. In October 2020, the Welsh Government revised the National Strategy for Flood and Coastal Risk Management, which is set out on how it is intended to manage the risk from flooding and coastal erosion across Wales. Conway County Borough Council, as the lead local authority, must update existing 2013 local flood risk management strategy to be consistent with the objectives and aims of the new national strategy. The local flood risk management strategy explains how flooding will be managed across the local authority area and is consistent with objective measures and related policies, legislation set out in the national strategy. Owen will go into more detail on this in a few moments, but certainly I would like to thank Owen for his work and for the work that his team have done over the last years in delivering what is a quarter of the Welsh budget in Conway to prevent our both our coastal strips and rural areas as well. So over to Owen to give you the detail.
Yeah, thank you. Before I ask Owen to just take us through the report, you know, the recommendation here is obviously scrutinise the report, but we are asking to, or ERF are asking to go out to public consultation, or the recommendation will go to cabinet to go out to public consultation. And I think, Owen, you're going to touch upon the consultation regarding that, including local members. Yeah, so that'll come there, because I had a question on that, but you've just answered that by nodding. So over to you, Owen, please.
Thanks very much, Councillor Mike. Very much members for letting me address this forum. Yeah, there's 550 pages. I'll go through each and one of those pages now. I'll keep you here. No, generally, thanks very much. What I'm asking here for tonight is...
Can you read in the dark?
I can read in the dark. We have, as Councillor Economi pointed out there, there is a new national strategy, what we say new 2020, then got guidance from the Welsh Government to update our own national local strategy. So our strategy is basically the rules of the game. We had our previous strategy 2013. This is the new strategy. We've worked within the flood risk team, or a cooperation from our partners within ERF and other services as well, to bring this new local strategy, which reflects the measures and objectives of the national strategy. When we go looking for money for Welsh Government, and it's outlined within the local strategy where our funding streams come from, we have to be able to tick the boxes against the national strategy, so that ministers can have confidence that what we are proposing matches what they have said that they would deliver in their policies. So there's a national strategy, our local strategy. Each local authority is bringing one of these forward. I know Anglesey, it's probably just going through democracy at the moment. Denbighshire are a bit behind us. Flintshire are a bit behind us. I think Wrexham are probably ahead of it. But there are certain points in this strategy, listen, it's a weighty document. And the ask here from this committee is, or from scrutiny, is to go out to public consultation so that people can get their eyes on this, comment on it. I'll go into how we will receive comments back from it. But there are certain parts of this strategy which people should maybe, I won't say focus on, I would say that you should look at the whole thing. But there's things called flood action plans. And that's basically, and there's a lot of talk, or a lot of, identifying policy in a lot of these pages, but table A1 and table A2 in this document is where we say what we are going to do at a community level. So we have divided the county up into 27 mini catchments.
Sorry, Chair, can Owen speak into his mic, please?
Sorry.
Thank you.
Apologise for that. Yeah. Here we go, I'll move over. So we have 27 community areas.
Can I just confirm, is that better?
Yeah,
yes,
thank you.
Yeah, thanks, sorry. Okay, no problem. So there are 27 community areas where we have focused and we have identified measures. Now, these are officers identification, where we would have dealt with area maintenance officers, where we know historically we have flood risk issues. But when this goes out to consultation, members of the public might say, well, hang on, what about my area? And I've got this is the problem. That's the point of having this document and the consultation. And this isn't a case that once it's done, it's locked in forever. We will be bringing officers or members that may have been at scrutiny last month. You would have recalled that I brought a report called, it was an annual update on our progress. That was the last time we will do that report. In future, we will be bringing a report on an annual basis, updating progress on the flood action plan, okay, which is linked to that table A1, table A2. So if you go to the Ganwy and you see these are the items that I've identified, or we as a local authority in the flood risk team have identified as being needing to be addressed to reduce flood risk to the community. You can I won't say hold to account, but you can see, well, what progress has been made or not. Now listen, there's 27 areas, there's a lot of measures, and there's not a lot of money. I will be using this document also as a means of supporting business cases, which I will be submitting both to democracy and also to the Welsh Government for funding, to identify funding. So while things are on the list, the flood action plan, we will certainly aim to address any of these issues. But, this is a long-term document. We'll have items coming in one end of the flood action plan and dropping off the other end as they get completed. But what I'm saying to you, this document, which we're asking you to give permission to go out to consultation, is the rules of the game. It's there for everybody to see, well, what are they doing about flooding in Conwy? Well, there it is there, it's in the strategy. Anybody can see it, anybody can critique it, anybody can agree with it. But at the same time, it's what I will be using when I'm going to democracy, or when I'm going to Welsh Government, or when I'm looking for funding. I'll be saying to you, it's in the strategy. The same way as we heard from our colleagues there in the fund department earlier on, they will have a strategy. There's another strategy coming to you now. You probably have social care strategies, you'll have education strategies. They're all linked. It's how we run our business as a local authority. And it's what the public, when they, there will be a link on our website, and developers, when they want to see, well, how is flood risk managed in the county? It's there in black and white. So what I would love everybody to read the 550 pages. Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. Top marks there. I would encourage people to, well, if I get permission to go out to consultation, we'll be running the consultation. I'll maybe touch on that a bit, Councillor Mike, about consultation. At the moment, we're proposing to do 2 types of consultation. It'll always be the same. We'll be consulting on the same document, but we will do an online version, and that has been proven to be effective in the sense that you get numbers. You do get a lot of people through. I know, talked to some colleagues in Anglesey who ran a consultation on their strategy. They did 4 public events, 4 times that they had officers on sitting on site, waiting there, all shiny, waiting for people to come and talk to them. 4 events in the county. I think they had less than 10 people showed up. However, so we'll probably do something online. We will certainly also do something in person. And we've got on the coast here, we have a great facility in Coipetla, and I would think we will certainly do something down the valley as well. So maybe some of the communities down there. So that'll be our intention. This will be coming through. To go for the consultation, you have to understand that there's a lot of translating here in this document. I would hope to go to consultation out. It'll probably be about May. We'll have about 6 weeks. These documents now are in the public domain, so don't wait. People don't have to. The official consultation probably will start in May. We'll have at least a 6-week consultation period. We will then review the responses, take on board, because this is the people's, this is not like what I think. I'm bringing you what the Welsh Government strategy is, reflected how I believe and how my team and how after the consultation that we've already carried out, believe it should be. Other people may have other views, and that's certainly a valid, that's valid as well. So we will do the consultation, we will review, and then we will proceed with democracy, and then we'll review, hopefully we will publish our strategy, and it'll have to be adopted by the local authority. And then hopefully that'll be by the end of the year. But we are working, we as officers, we're looking at this being our rule book now going forward. So I'm quite happy to take questions about the gully at number 5 Big Street that is blocked for the last 2 years, or any other significant flood risk issues that may be on. No, I'm not.
Owen, thank you for that. I personally am not happy that someone will come to you with a block gully in this meeting. However, if it comes to a situation, so if I've got my head around this, we're looking at flood risk management strategy that will give evidence for future business cases, because it will be in the strategy, etc., etc. And then what we're doing is during the consultation, we're asking members of the public to say, I've got an area. I mean, I know, for example, Sam has Station Road in Ganwy. We have Aberconwy School. I mention them because I know them projects are going ahead, and hopefully will relieve them situations. But so if there's a member of the public that can have an opportunity to say, well, Joe Blogg Road floods every time there's a high tide, there's an issue, I don't know what it is, they can put that to you, and then once it's accepted, that's in the plan, that they can look at an audit trail to see what's happening. Have I got that fairly?
Certainly, I would say, if there's issues identified, that are significant, yeah, we will. If it's an ongoing routine maintenance issue, well, then of course we.
Absolutely. If there's a gully wagon go and sort it out, I see that. But some of the projects in the documents, like some simple projects about keeping water upstream, I totally get. And if you can get many more of them going, then that flow down into the valley slows down and will prevent in the future. So yeah, totally get that. So I will open up to any questions on this document. Bear in mind that we will have further consultation, and it's asking to go out to consultation. But if anyone has a question for Owen, please raise your hands. Councillor, who was first? Sorry, Councillor Allen and Councillor Sam online.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. There might be a few hands up for questions now, but just so Owen, you know what my areas are, so they are ward specific, so I'm not going to ask them now. But it's on page 382, and then there's another one on 271. But you'll know where those areas are that I would be asking about at some point. But other than that, I'd just like to propose that we go with a recommendation. It's a very good report, and it does need to go out to consultation and get that feedback. But I think we all need to try our best to get the consultation out to our public, and let's see what they come back with. So I think that's important that we support this. So I'm happy to propose we go to recommendation.
I appreciate that, Alan, and yeah, I certainly will use whatever platforms I can to promote this via the consultation as well. Online, I've got Sam, Councillor Sam, and then I've got Cynhoryd Aaron.
Thank you, Chair. No, I don't have a question. I was going to propose, but I'm happy to second that the document goes out to consultation. And as you mentioned, Station Road, we are going to be getting, Owen has assured me, we'll be getting our duck bill valve soon, so that problem should be alleviated. Thank you.
Sam, I've seen a picture of it on a pallet. So yeah, so it's yeah, pretty close with that. Thank you, Sam. So I've got a proposal in a second, and I've just got Cynhoryd Aaron online.
Diolch, Cadeirydd, and thank you, Owen, for taking us through that report. You mentioned consultation there, and Anglesey only able to muster 10 people. I can almost guarantee you'll have a lot more than that if you turn up in Llanrwst. Flooding is always on our mind as a community. I won't go into specific projects that are in the strategy, but I just want to get an understanding of if they're in the strategy, does that mean they are happening, or you would like them to happen? And if so, how long do we have to wait to see these projects, shoveled in the ground, sort of thing?
Thank you, Aaron. I think, yeah, a couple of questions here. So as you say, you'll get more than 10 people at Llanrwst because of the threats that are posed up there. Owen, if I could come back to you, and if you could respond, please.
Yeah, thanks very much, Councillor Aaron, for the question. And well, I don't want, just quickly about the guys in Anglesey, in case anyone's listening from Anglesey, but they are very switched on to flood risk in Anglesey. I'm just saying at the consultation event regarding the strategy, that very low turnout in the thing, but then it must have been a really good strategy because nobody felt there was a need to comment on it. But regarding if they're on the list, Councillor Aaron, yeah, listen, there'll be what it is it's important to get items on the list, because then there's eyes on it and people can sort of see, and they can see progress. Unfortunately for us in the flood risk branch, might say, well, actually lack of progress if things aren't happening, because everybody's community is important. I get that. I completely get that. There's a limited, what we would obviously aim to do is always reduce flood risk to most people as quick, that we can, with the budget available that we have. So certainly if things are on the list, they can come and go on the list. When items get finished and stuff can come in one end. This is a live living document, this flood action plan, So certainly things can come now. How long is it going to take? How much money do you have? And that's always an issue. We've been very lucky, that we have secured funding, and funding is quite high up on the Welsh Government's priority list, and we do get funding. That's where most of our funding comes from. We have had some funding from Welsh Government Transport and some supported funding from Welsh Water. And even in the last 6 months, you know, I'm hearing, whereas before Network Rail, and you know, I'm hearing now that, you know, there's the big talk now is cooperation and collaboration. So whereas before it was always the flood branch in the Welsh Government, you know, there are other funding streams coming through, and even funding, you know, like in down, say if we talk about Clanroost area, you know, we have natural flood management, you know, that's another funding stream through the Welsh Government that we will be taking forward down in some of the communities down there. So if they're on the list, there's no problem. Things can come in and go off the list. And when will they happen? You know, we would endeavour to do, you know, prioritise projects that are, and you know, around the county, there's not. I might have on that list. There's 27 areas, I think I said, and you know, there might be 3 or 4 per area, but like some of them may not be. You know, they're not. Our big schemes have been the big coastal schemes because there's thousands of properties that benefit. Like thousands of properties in Llandudno, thousands of properties in Kimmel Bay. The ones down the valley, some of them are a bit smaller. Clanroost certainly is an area which has been impacted significantly, but we do have schemes proposed in that area. So there's no problem with getting, you know, once schemes are on the list, you know, it's a fluid list, and we will prioritise and work with local members as well to deliver them as quick as possible. I can't say, you know, that something's going to happen today or tomorrow or in 6 months' time, you know, but what I can tell you is that the reporting that you will have every year will be where progress will be measured or not.
Okay, and could I just add on that then, just as regards going out to consultation, is watch this space, you know, where and when and how, and obviously communicate that with local members. I have no other speakers, so I've got a proposer, and that's Councillor Allen, seconded Councillor Sam. You can see that the recommendations are on page 162. And that is Economy in Place Overview Scrutiny Committee reviews draft local flood risk management strategy and associated dependencies, and makes recommendations to Cabinet. And basically, I think the recommendation from this committee is that Cabinet approve the Council undertake public consultation on the draft local flood risk management strategy. So that's been proposed and seconded. Can I, all those in favour? Oh, sorry, Chris.
Before you go to the vote, it's proposed that once the consultation takes place, that these go through to Cabinet. I would like to see them come back to this committee because I don't, you know, I think it's important that we do.
Speak into your mic, please, Chris.
Sorry, I don't have a problem with the report in front of me, but I do want to see it in the context of the concerns that are raised by members of the public. As I want to listen to what they've got to understand what they've got to say. I'll have more to say, and I've not raised this here today because Owen has agreed to come to our local area forum, but at that time I would appreciate the opportunity for us to contribute to any decision that Cabinet may make in the future.
Okay, thank you, Chris. I'm as chair, I'm happy to bring that back here after consultation. I'm looking over to Councillor Gronwy, whether that, I can't see there being an issue, so no issue there. Owen, okay, bringing that back here. So yeah, we can do that, Chris. So we'll make a note of that and we'll get that put. Well, as and when we've got the dates and once the report is all compiled, etc., we will bring that back to this scrutiny committee. So are you okay with that? Yeah, thank you. So again, then, so if I can see all those in favour, please show. Okay, any against? Any abstentions? No, that's unanimous. So Owen, thank you very much for walking us through that. And again, the document speaks for itself, doesn't it? So thank you. Here we go again. Item, where are we? The next item is the update on the North Wales Corporate Joint Regional Transport Plan. You can find that on pages 706 to 843. This report again will be introduced by Councillor Gronwy Edwards, Cabinet Member for Infrastructure, Transport and Facilities, and then the report will go into more detail by Dylan Jones, who's our Traffic and Network Manager, and you will present it and give some more detail in it. Just one thing that I picked up on is that I was going to possibly question stuff on buses, but I've been reminded that in our forward work programme on the 21st of May that we will be discussing the future management of bus services in Wales, and I think probably that would be the best place to discuss that. So, Gronwy, can I hand over to you to introduce this report, please?
Thank you, Chair, and you're certainly making me earn my allowance tonight. So, this is, whilst we just heard the strategy for Conway on flood management, this is a North Wales strategy for transport into the future. As you're aware, the CJC was set up a couple of years ago, and from that has been set up a CJC subcommittee, transport committee, and I inherited the role of chairing that subcommittee, which is the 6 local authorities across Wales. Now, this strategy has been put together to go out to consultation. It is currently out to consultation, and it will finish on I think it's the 12th of April, when then that will be presented to the CJC itself for adoption or not, which will form the traffic management, which will form the corporate Wales transport regional plan for the next decade or so. Now, there's an awful lot of change afoot, obviously, with CJCs being established. I was in a meeting with Ken Skates last week where they are proposing that all funding will come through CJCs in the future for regional transport. So it is quite an important piece of work. It's a departure from the existing system of funding, obviously. The Pwyllgor newydd is called the Wales Transport Strategy 2021, sets out the Wales Government priorities and ambitions for transport in Wales. A detailed 5-year national transport delivery plan and regional transport plans will tailor delivery of the Wales transport strategy to the needs of every part of Wales. The development and the implementation of the regional transport plan is a statutory function exercised by the North Wales Corporate Joint Committee, the CJC, through a subcommittee supported by the guidance to Corporate Joint Committees of Regional Transport Plans version 2. As I say, we have been set up. I chair the CJC subcommittee on transport. We've met a few times. It was only really established in the late part of last year. We've met a few times now, and this document is coming out to go out, as I say, to consultation, which is out in consultation. And it will shape the future of transport for the foreseeable future. And funding will be identified in due course. Ken Skates said this is his vision for the future. Will be the vision of the Welsh Government, but for local transport to be delivered on a regional basis. So over to Dylan.
Thank you, Gronwy, for that. Dylan, if you'd like to go through the report for us, please. Is it Dylan or Geraint? Yeah, if you want to come in. Yeah, please.
Quick introduction.
Geraint Edwards, if you, yeah.
Quick introduction, if you allow me, Chair. Gronwy's covered most of the points. Just to be clear that this is a North Wales Corporate Joint Committee plan. The committee was established in 2021 and has a duty to produce the transport plan. We, as Conway and the other 5 local authorities in North Wales, have been a part of developing the draft plan. It's now in its consultation phase, and I would like to emphasise that it's an opportunity for councillors, their constituents, and our wider communities to influence future transport interventions in the region. And the way that they need to do this is by participating in the consultation. Digital village hall style environment interactive website, it's easy for me to say, has been produced by the Corporate Joint Committee, and it's shown as a link within the report. I was hoping that Dylan might be able to, technology and time permitting, log into Zoom and quickly demonstrate the wealth of information that's available on that website for members who've not been able to access it. Just to update, as of last week, the site had received in excess of 4,000 visits, and CJC have already received over 90 responses to the consultation. Consultation closes on the 14th of April. I'd like also to take the opportunity to update the report. This is a moving feast. So on page 711 of your report, paragraph 3.1.28, the timetable for delivery has changed since the report was written, only a matter of a couple of weeks ago, as a consequence of the timing for ministerial approval, and the likely publication date is now September 2025. Okay, so I don't know if Dylan is able.
Is this the virtual room that I've seen? It's like so you're going to just hopefully technology allowing that we'll be able to look at how we can participate on the consultation. Am I correct?
Yeah, my intention was just to go step by step
Yeah.
how people can access the consultation. I won't go into.
No, I don't. Yeah,
details of
that's
the
absolutely fine.
reports.
Because as you say, I think Geraint's made it absolutely clear. What I would ask is, because I know Economi, you've mentioned this before, and I just wonder if on behalf of this committee you could send councillors the link again, if you could do that, or
Certainly.
Dawn will do that on our behalf. Then,
We
perhaps.
have also produced a easy to read version as well, which has gone out to all the consultees.
Yeah.
So that is a simplified version of the consultation document.
Okay, so I thought it seems you're earning your money tonight, you might do that as well. But if any information, then Dawn, you can put that out for us. Okay, Dylan, if you Geraint, did you want to come back? Sorry.
Yeah, Councillor Grom was just triggered my mind. As of this morning, there is another easy to read version that is about to be published. I've seen a draft copy this morning, but that will be out in the next few days.
Okay, and can you send that to Dawn for us, please? And then Dawn, you'll distribute it. Okay. Without further ado, Dylan.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I've got Zoom on my screen here, so I take it I can share the screen. Yeah. Right then. Something's happening. Hi, can everybody hear me? Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to start from the beginning, really. If you were a member of the public, or if you're as a local member, or you want to show the member of the public how you get access to the constitution material. So you just type in regional transport plan, isn't it? Transport plan, and then the second one down on Google, transport plan North Wales. So it's all there. So it's the top one on the search. So it's the North Wales Ambition Board, which is effectively the CJC. So you click onto that. Now you come to the home page itself, where if you scroll down, you've got 3 different avenues to explore. But the one we're interested really is the North Wales Regional Transport Draft Public Consultation, which is the first one. Again, simple click. It's simple, was it? And it takes you on to the next page. Again, scroll down, where you've got information of how to respond to the consultation itself, the online version, which takes you into the virtual engagement room, which I'll go into that in a minute. But also it's got details as well on how to respond through email or post, or there's even a phone number there as well where people can contact relevant officers for advice or whatever, or for some more information. So to go into the virtual engagement room, this is quite new, most probably to a lot of people. Yeah, it takes you to this page. You can either register or continue anonymously. So just for purpose of this exercise, go for the easy option. So it takes you into this room. So you use your mouse where you hold and you drag, or you can zoom in using the wheel, as such, like that. So if you take it as a sort of a nice posh community hall like this, I'm sure we'd all like one of these in our constituents. So you got the entrance into the room. So as with any sort of public exhibition type setup, it'll try to, the boards will try to guide you around, tell you the story really, and then bring you back to where they want to, for you to put your questionnaires in. So it's very similar as you would be looking at it in real life. So all the notice boards are bilingual. As you can see, you've got the welcome boards, Croeso, welcome. So if you want to you click onto the icons on the top, give you a drop down menu. So the welcome board, you click on this, on those, and then that will show you what's on those boards for that. Then to go back onto the main room, you just press X, and then you carry on along the boards if you want to do that. So on some boards, you'll have more information, as in this one, which is the plan itself. You've got what's on the information board, and then you've got a copy of the plan, and you've got the, as Economi says, the easy to read version as well. I'm not going to go click all the boards for you, but you can get a sense of what's there really. And a lot of these are sort of supporting information. However, there is one particular document here that was probably a lot of will have an interest in, which is the Regional Transport Delivery Plan, which accompanies the draft constitution, the Regional Transport Plan as well itself. That sort of sets out the schemes that the aspirations of the different local authorities, and they've got sort of priorities to them as well. They've been set out in different priorities, and that is also be where you as local members and the members of the public will have an interest in seeing, you know, is there a particular scheme that you have in mind that you want to be included in it, or do you have a comments to make about a scheme that's already included in the list? So I'd encourage you to have a read of that particular document as well as the plan itself. So as I say, there's a number of options there, but it's usually, you know, bilingual options and so forth, and a copy of the board. So it takes you then to the questionnaire itself. Got a copy of that, which is the green ones. And you've got sorry, yeah, it's a Welsh and English version. So you copy the questionnaires, but alongside that, we've got some supporting information that will guide you really. Some FAQs. So you know that might give you some useful information before responding. And basically, these documents here are the same. What's on the board? It's just to save you from going around all the boards, and you can go straight into the questionnaire, which is all it's the same as the one I just showed you. Some FAQs as well, but we've got the bilingual version and a copy of the regional transport plan itself. So that's effectively the board itself. And then I think you can, you know, it's not intimidating at all. I think you'll find, you know, it's quite easy to navigate around it. If you've got, you know, if you've got some limited IT skills, I think it's quite simple to do that. I do have hard copies of the regional transport plan, very limited. I've got about 3 English versions and about 5 or 6 Welsh versions, so I can keep them here. I'll put them out on the table there if somebody wants to pick up a copy. You're welcome to take one of them home as bedtime reading for you. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. If you could sort of unshare, and then we should get just close that down. That's brilliant. Thank you, Don. So before I open up to any questions, just looking at the recommendations on page 707, Economy of Place Overview Scrutiny Committee scrutinises the reports, makes recommendations, but looking at, you know, subject to consideration of Overview and Scrutiny Committee's recommendation that Cabinet supports and endorses progress made by the CJC to deliver the regional transport plan for North Wales. I think for me, we're slightly missing out a bit on the fact that I'm wondering, Gromwy, whether it's also because you're encouraging us to participate. So in the recommendation that, I don't know, but maybe it could be, and encourages members to participate in the consultation and share with residents. Maybe something like that could be added to the recommendation, because as you say, you've just given us a whistle stop tour of how to participate in the consultation. I'd like to see it written down in the recommendations. Gromley?
Yeah, this has gone out to all members
Yeah.
anyway. I've notified all the community councils I sit on, and I've sent it out to all the community groups that I'm aware of in my area. So by all means, share this as wide as you can with everybody that's mindful to respond.
Thank you, Gromley. And yes, I've had correspondence off yourself regarding this consultation, and I thank you for that. I'm just thinking if it's in the recommendation, it just gives it a little bit more weight on that. Is anybody any questions on that, or is anybody happy to propose that we add a little bit there along the lines of that members are encouraged to participate in the consultation and share with their residents? Councillor Chris, you're happy? Thank you for that, Chris. Anybody second that, please? Councillor Gale will second that. Louise, do you have a question, or were you?
It was just a question. I mean, basically, that we can come back and air our views. Will it come back to scrutiny? So we all go to the consultations, we get everybody to go. Will it then come back for a sort of scrutiny approach, or is it just up to individual councillors to say what they think about it?
That's a good question. Obviously, this is going out for like the region, so I think the question we need to ask is where does it go after that consultation and everything's been gathered, and I'm assuming that'll be the basis of a report. Where does that go from the region? Would it be a question to be asked at the CJC? Or Geraint?
Yeah, individual responses will go back to the CJC, and they will, prior to publication, they will take the report and the comments to the CJC.
So it won't come back here.
We won't necessarily see the individual comments at that point in time.
I think what we'll do, Louise, is I think what we can do is ask the question that, because if we're going to participate, I want to know what's been said and what's Conway's, viewpoint. And I think if we're not going to be allowed that, it's difficult to understand that. So if you could take it back to CJC about bringing it back for, sorry. Yeah, Dawn will come in.
We've just recently considered a report, haven't we, establishing a joint scrutiny committee to look at CJC. I know we responded, and I think we're just waiting for results from other local authorities. So I'm presuming that scrutiny committee will have a role to play. I think it's probably still in its infancy. We as scrutiny officers are still waiting for information, but as soon as I find out anything, I will let you know. But I presume that will be the mechanism of scrutinising such things.
Okay, well, what we'll do, as Dawn says, we'll take that forward live. That obviously we're participating. We want to see what comes out of that. So we'll chase that, Louise, and then we'll come back to the committee and let you know what the response is. If that's okay. Yeah, Tom, Councillor Tom online.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. A couple of quick points or observations that I'd make is the virtual room looks great. It looks engaging, but for an awful number of people, the way that they access the internet is through a tablet or a phone. While the virtual room works fine on a desktop or a laptop, it's actually nearly impossible to use on a phone or a tablet. I've tried it a couple of times. Forgive me if it's an issue on my end, but I've tried it several times on a phone or a tablet, and I've struggled to be able to navigate the room successfully. So I think that's just a bit of feedback there. The other thing that I've done is I just sort of quickly, while we were going through there, tested the feedback section. I put in all of the details and go to submit, and it doesn't say the feedback has been submitted. It says it's saved, and no matter how many times I go back to the tab, it just seems to be sat there. So I just want a bit of reassurance that the stuff that we're actually putting in is actually going to someone, because from my perspective, with it sat in front of me here, it doesn't look like it's being submitted. It just says it's being saved. Well, being saved for what? I don't want to be encouraging people to fill this in if the data and the feedback is then just sat there on the web page and doesn't actually go through to the people on the other side. Yeah, I have quite strong views on the Welsh Government approach to transport. So yeah, I would be quite keen to understand whether we're going to have a chance to talk about that here, because I note that the recommendation says that we move with the Cabinet to support and endorse the progress made. Well, I don't support or endorse the plan, so I just want to understand what it is that we're voting for. Is it that we support and endorse that it's going to consultation, or is it that we support and endorse the plan? Because I don't support and endorse the plan at all. So just a couple of points there, Chair.
Thank you. I think we're looking at support and in progress, Tom. And you know, I for one, yeah, I'm keen to get it back to us, whether it be a joint committee or whether it comes here. But we will get an answer to that. I did, Gromley, Gromley wanted to come back, Tom, just on a couple of things there.
Thanks to Councillor Tom for raising those concerns. I'll certainly take those back to our next meeting of the Regional Transport Group, because questions have been raised from different areas. How will the response come back? Because obviously this will be a recommendation to the CJC. This is not the only subcommittee the CJCs have set up. So there is that question of scrutiny that which we discussed the other day. And it is very much in the early days of implementing the CJCs, but there will be the main instigators of policies in the future. So we do need a bit more information, and I'm more than happy to take the concerns back to the subcommittee.
You okay with that, Tom?
Yeah, that's great, Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
So, bit trigger happy. I don't have any other speakers. Geraint, did you want to come back on anything there?
I think that you, Chair, and Councillor Gromy have answered the second part of Councillor Tom's question. I thank Tom for the feedback. I will speak to the developers. I haven't personally tried the mobile or the tablet form. I've tried the laptop form, and it works very well on the laptop. I understood that the software had been developed for multi-purpose use. I'll speak to the developers tomorrow to see what the issue is.
And again, if you could get back to Dawn then, and then Dawn can share that. Online, Simon?
Yeah, cheers. Thank you, Chair. I'm just looking at page 743 of the document, and it refers to the North Wales Transport Commission. Is that still in existence, or has that been absorbed into the CJC?
North Wales Transport Commission was a separate entity. They have developed, they have created a report with, I think, some 60 recommendations, but it is part of the development of the transport within Wales. So the new piece of work, it recognises the Transport Commission's work.
Thank you for that, Geraint. Councillor Louise.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we're all clear that the recommendation is to scrutinise the report and then support and endorse the progress made, and then that recommendation goes to Cabinet. So you know, I don't support and endorse the progress at all of the transport strategy. So just to make that everybody clear, it's not about proposing, we're not just signing off, oh, go to consultation. We're asking to support a document which we haven't really scrutinised tonight because we're all very tired. But I think just let's go to the vote and see who wants to support it and who doesn't.
No, I'm happy to stay here all night, Louise.
I'm not.
Well, you know, again, I don't want to be, as a committee chair, I don't want to be rushing anything through. If anybody's got anything to say or any questions, I'm more than happy, you know, for the meeting. I'm getting kicked under the table. No, I'm not. But I'm more than happy for people to have their say.
Yeah, just so people understand. I mean, I've read the transport plan and I've got a few issues of it, but I will put those issues in the consultation. But I'm not going to support it tonight. Okay,
that's fine. Thank you for that, Louise.
Yeah.
So I've got no one else wanting to speak. So there has been a proposer that subject to consideration, overview and scrutiny committee's recommendations, that Cabinet supports and endorses the progress made by CJC to deliver a regional transport plan for North Wales. Chris has added or has agreed that and encourages members to participate in the consultation and share that with residents. Councillor Chris Hughes has proposed that. Can I have a seconder for that, please? Yeah, Simon, Councillor Simon. Okay, so that's proposed and seconded. All those in favour, please. Yeah, so we have, how many have we got online? Sorry, can you show clearly online? Sorry. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4. Chris, 5, 6, and yourself 7. So it's 7 for. Those against? Three online, no one in the room. So it's 7 for, 3 against. That recommendation is carried. Any abstentions? Councillor Bernice, that's an abstention. Okay, thank you very much for that. That's recorded. Okay, with that, thank you very much, members online. Thank you very much, members in the chamber and officers from ERF. Thank you very much for your attendance tonight. And with that, I